Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into the world of fertility acupuncture today.
Oh, interesting.
We're focusing on the Berkley Center for Reproductive Wellness in New York City.
Okay.
They've got this really unique approach, blending Eastern and Western fertility treatments. Plus, get this, they do home visits for acupuncture all over the city.
Wow, in NYC, that's convenient.
Right. So let's dig into what makes them stand out.
Sounds good.
One thing that jumps out from their website is their focus on personalized care.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It seems like they really try to understand each patient's specific needs and challenges.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, not at all.
They combine those time-tested Eastern therapies, like acupuncture and herbal medicine,
Right.
with modern Western medical techniques and testing.
That's a cool blend.
I think so, too. It's like bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science.
Totally. But I'm curious, how do they actually put that philosophy into practice? Like, what does a treatment plan look like?
Well, they offer a wide range of services.
Things like acupuncture for both male and female infertility.
Makes sense.
And this interesting thing called low-level light therapy, or LLT.
LLLT, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Interesting. So they use these different approaches, but the key is tailoring them, right?
Yeah.
To each patient.
Exactly. Let's break that down a bit.
Okay.
What exactly are they addressing with acupuncture for men and women?
Well, they focus on a bunch of things like
Yeah.
improving egg and sperm quality,
Mm-hmm.
regulating hormones, even preventing miscarriages.
Oh, wow.
They also work with specific conditions like PCOS and endometriosis.
Which can make conceiving a lot harder, yeah.
Absolutely.
It seems like they're looking at reproductive health much more broadly than a typical fertility clinic.
It does. They consider everything, the physical, the emotional, the mental.
Right. It's a very holistic view.
And you know what really brings that perspective to life?
What's that?
The founder's story? Mike Berkley. He actually got into fertility acupuncture because of his own struggles with infertility. Oh, wow. Really? Tell me more about that.
Well, Mike and his wife had a tough time conceiving.
I see.
And in the end, it was acupuncture that helped them have their son.
So his personal journey kind of led him to this path of helping others.
Exactly. He saw firsthand the power of these therapies.
That's a powerful story.
It is. And you can really sense that empathy in the whole approach of the Berkley Center.
Totally. Okay, let's get back to LLT for a second. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, low-level light therapy.
What is it exactly? And how does it fit into their whole approach?
So LLLT basically exposes cells to specific wavelengths of light to help them function better.
Okay.
The Berkley Center uses it to boost something they call follicular energy.
So, in simple terms, it's about improving egg quality.
Yeah, exactly. Healthier eggs, better chance of conception.
I'm really fascinated by how they blend cutting-edge techniques like this with traditional practices.
Right. It's a unique mix.
I'm also wondering how they approach those modern fertility treatments like IVF and IUI.
Oh, yeah, good question.
Do they incorporate acupuncture into those procedures too?
They do. They actually have specific acupuncture protocols designed to boost pregnancy chances for couples doing IVF or IUI.
Oh, so they're working alongside those technologies, not trying to replace them.
Right. It's about enhancing the effectiveness of those procedures.
And they also focus on preventing miscarriages, especially in those first 12 weeks, right?
That's right. They adjust their treatment goals throughout the process.
It really does seem like a comprehensive approach.
Very much so. But they're also very upfront about one thing.
What's that?
Acupuncture isn't a magic solution on its own.
It's not just about the needles.
Exactly. They emphasize lifestyle changes, too, for the best results.
So what kind of lifestyle changes are they talking about?
You know, the basics.
Like diet and exercise?
Yep, healthy diet, maintaining a healthy weight, reducing stress, avoiding things like smoking and too much alcohol.
Makes sense. Those all affect hormonal balance and reproductive health.
Exactly. It's all connected.
It seems like they're acknowledging that fertility is multifaceted.
Yes, it's complex.
You need to address it from different angles.
I agree.
Speaking of different angles, lots of people worry about the cost of fertility treatments.
Oh, for sure.
Do they give any info about their pricing?
They do. They outline different treatment plans on their website.
Okay, tell me more about those.
They have packages that focus just on acupuncture, some that combine acupuncture and LLLT.
And what about individual sessions?
They have those too.
Okay, so they have options.
They also offer additional services like herbal medicine, pre- and post-embryo transfer acupuncture,
Wow, they cover a lot.
even those home visits we talked about.
So Do they give any idea of the actual costs?
They have a general overview on their website,
Okay.
but the specific cost depends on the plan you choose and any extra services.
So it's hard to say exactly without talking to them.
Right.
But they do have one interesting thing.
What's that?
They waive the initial consultation and first treatment fee if you buy one of their program packages.
Oh, that's a good incentive to at least check them out.
Exactly. It takes some of the pressure off that first step.
For sure. So have you seen any patient testimonials on their site?
They do. And they're full of positive stories from people who've had success with the Berkley Center.
That's great to hear. What kind of things are people saying?
Well, they talk about successful pregnancies, of course,
Makes sense.
but also about improved well-being and how supportive Mike and the team are.
So it's not just about the physical result.
No, it's about the whole experience.
I'm curious about the specifics. Did any stories stand out to you?
One that really stuck with me was from a woman who conceived after struggling with infertility for years.
Wow.
She specifically mentioned how much she appreciated Mike's caring approach and feeling truly heard.
That's so important when you're going through something as challenging as infertility.
Absolutely. It's clear they're not just treating symptoms, but treating people.
Right, acknowledging the emotional and mental toll this journey takes.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive into the Berkley Center.
We have. It's been fascinating.
We talked about their unique blend of Eastern and Western approaches, Mike's personal story, and how it shaped the clinic's philosophy, and their impressive range of services, including that cool LLLT.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But what really sets them apart from other fertility clinics? What's the one thing that makes them truly unique?
Good question. I think it's that commitment to integrating all those approaches, into one plan that's really tailored to the individual.
Right, it's more than just offering a bunch of different treatments.
Yeah, they really seem to think about how to weave those treatments together effectively.
We talked before about how they use acupuncture alongside IVF, but I'm curious about how they view acupuncture compared to other conventional fertility treatments in general.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it really depends on the person and their situation.
Okay.
It seems like they see acupuncture as a way to enhance the effects of other treatments.
But not necessarily replace them altogether?
Right, exactly.
They're not claiming it's a miracle cure for everything.
No, not at all.
They're being realistic about what acupuncture can and can't do.
And I think that's important, for patients to understand.
Absolutely.
It's all about finding that right balance and working with your doctor to figure out what's best for you.
You mentioned earlier that they put a lot of emphasis on lifestyle changes along with the treatments.
Yeah, they do.
But I'm curious, do their recommendations differ from what other fertility specialists might say?
Well, they definitely talk about the usual stuff.
Like what?
Diet, exercise, managing stress.
Right, the basics.
But they also incorporate principles from traditional Chinese medicine.
Okay, can you give me an example of what that looks like?
Sure. Let's say someone is having irregular cycles.
Okay.
They might recommend specific foods to eat or avoid based on the person's individual constitution.
So it's really tailored.
Exactly. Or, if stress is a big issue, they might teach some mindfulness techniques or breathing exercises.
So it's not just about making generic changes. It's about figuring out what's going on at a deeper level.
Yeah, finding the root cause and addressing it from different angles.
That makes sense. And that's where their expertise in both Eastern and Western medicine really comes in handy, right?
Exactly. They can pull from a wider range of knowledge to create a more personalized plan.
We've talked about the physical aspects, but what about the emotional side of infertility?
Oh, yeah, that's a huge part of it.
It's such a tough journey, emotionally and mentally.
Absolutely.
Do they offer any specific support for that? Like resources for coping with the stress and the ups and downs?
I didn't see anything specific listed on their website,
Okay.
but a lot of the testimonials mention how compassionate and understanding Mike and the team are.
So maybe it's more of an unspoken thing woven into their overall approach.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. You'd get a better sense by actually meeting them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that initial consultation is really key, not just for information, but for that personal connection.
Right, you need to feel comfortable with your practitioners.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the details of their approach, the personalized care, all that. But for you, what's the most compelling part of the Berkley Center's philosophy? What really stands out?
I think for me, it's how they bridge that gap between Eastern and Western medicine.
Yeah.
They're not saying one is better than the other.
Great.
It's about taking the best from each and finding ways to combine them.
It's like they're saying the answer is often somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
Okay, we've explored the nuances of their approach, the emotional aspects, what makes them unique. But let's talk about cost.
Yeah, that's a big one.
For someone thinking about fertility acupuncture, what should they know about the financial side of things?
Well, they do have that general price list on their website.
Right.
But it's important to remember that the final cost will depend on your specific needs and treatment plan.
So it's not as simple as saying acupuncture costs this much per session.
No, not really.
It's more about having a conversation with them and figuring out a plan that works for you, both in terms of treatment and budget.
Exactly.
And, even though cost is a major factor,
Of course.
it shouldn't be the only thing you consider.
Right.
It's about finding a clinic and an approach that feels right on every level, including financially.
Absolutely.
Okay, in this second part of our deep dive, we've looked at how the Berkley Center integrates acupuncture with conventional treatments. We talked about their personalized lifestyle advice and the importance of addressing the emotional aspects of infertility.
It's all connected.
We also touched on the costs, emphasizing that personal assessment is key.
Yeah. Everyone's situation is different.
So, thinking about everything we've learned, who do you think would be most drawn to this approach? Who would really benefit from what the Berkley Center offers?
That's a good question. I think anyone looking for that holistic approach to fertility treatment, they'd be really interested in the Berkley Center.
Yeah, someone who wants to understand more than just the symptoms.
Exactly. They want to understand their body, what's impacting their fertility.
And they're open to those Eastern medicine practices alongside the conventional stuff.
Yeah, and they're willing to put in the effort to make those lifestyle changes, really be an active part of the process.
It's not a passive thing at all.
No, you have to be committed.
Looking back at everything we've learned about the Berkley Center, I'm really struck by how much they emphasize patient empowerment.
Oh, absolutely.
They give you the knowledge, the resources, the options.
So you can make informed decisions about your own journey.
Exactly. It's not about them dictating what you should do.
No, it's about finding what's right for you.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this and they're intrigued.
Yeah.
What's the first step they should take to learn more?
I'd definitely say check out their website.
Yeah.
They've got tons of info on there, like descriptions of all the services.
And those patient testimonials we talked about?
Yep, those two. And they even have a blog with articles about all sorts of fertility and acupuncture topics.
It's a good way to get a feel for their whole approach.
Exactly.
And don't forget those home visits.
Oh, yeah, those are really cool.
Makes it so much more accessible for people.
Especially in a busy city like New York.
So what about actually connecting with the practitioners? How would someone go about setting up a consultation?
You can either fill out the contact form on the website or just call the clinic directly.
Okay, straightforward enough.
And remember, they waive that initial consultation fee if you decide to sign up for one of the programs.
It's a good opportunity to meet them and ask questions before committing to anything.
For sure.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Do you think this blend of Eastern and Western medicine, like what the Berkley Center is doing, is becoming more common?
I think so, yeah. There's definitely a trend toward more integrative healthcare.
People want treatment that looks at the whole person, not just their symptoms.
Exactly. And that's especially true with fertility, where the emotional and mental side is so important.
It's not just a medical issue. It's a human experience.
Well said. And it deserves to be treated with compassion and with all the options on the table.
I love that. The Berkley Center's approach is a great example of how to bring different types of care together.
Yeah, create a more personalized experience for the patient.
So as we finish our deep dive into the world of fertility acupuncture, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought.
Okay.
We've talked about this holistic approach, combining the traditional and the modern.
Right.
How do you think that kind of integrative model can really benefit people on their fertility journey?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is. What new possibilities does it open up?
Lots to think about.
We encourage you to explore that question, see where it leads you.
Yeah, keep the conversation going.
Thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
And we wish you all the best on your path to parenthood.